I don't care how old your dog is. It doesn't matter if they're 8 weeks old, 8 years old, or 18 years old. It is never too late to train your dog. And the reality is that it doesn't matter what age they are. The fundamental principles for training your dog successfully are going to be the same. And in this video, I'm going to talk you through my pyramid to success that I have developed over my decade of working as a canine behaviorist, that if you get this right, if you understand this principle, you'll not only be able to train your dog to be a perfect canine companion, but you'll be able to train any dog to be a perfect canine companion. And my pyramid to success is made up of 3 levels, and it is fairly simple. I'm going to break down each level for you. And again, if you understand this, if you grasp this, if you absorb this, I promise you, you will become a higher level canine leader that can become an expert in the field of dog training and canine behavior modification. And like any pyramid, we have to start with that foundation layer. And in my pyramid to dog training success, that foundation layer, that bottom layer of the pyramid is going to be you. It does not matter whether you have world-class, best in the world canine leadership skills, or frankly, the worst leadership skills in the world. That is going to be that foundation principle of the pyramid. That is going to be that bottom layer. The reality is that we then have to move up the pyramid, and that next stage up the pyramid that is built on top of that foundation of your leadership skills is going to be the relationship that you have with your dog. And the reality is that relationship at this point can now go one of 2 ways. The simple question is does your dog see you as a competent, loving canine leader? If the answer to that question is yes, because your leadership skills are excellent, your dog is going to look up to you as their loving leader. If your leadership skills are poor, your dog is not going to look up to you as their loving leader, and that will be the relationship that you have with your dog. That relationship then moves us to the tip of the pyramid. You could class this as the piece of the iceberg sticking out above the water, with your leadership skills and relationship skills being the piece of the iceberg under the water. This is the bit that we see. This is the bit that people focus on when they think about training without focusing on those 2 underpinning layers before it. And the tip of the pyramid is communication with your dog. And when I talk about communication with your dog, I simply mean, can you communicate to your dog in a language they understand what it is that you do want from them and what it is that you don't want from them? Because frankly, that is the essence of training. Please do this, please don't do that. If you can do that with a dog, you will be an expert dog trainer. But the reality is, if you have poor leadership skills, you will have a relationship with your dog where they're not looking up to you as their loving leader, which means they are not looking up to you for guidance and direction. So your communication pathways become narrow, and they become tight, and they become full of friction, and it's hard to communicate to them, and it's hard for them to communicate back to you. However, if we take a step back, if we become high-level loving canine leaders, our relationship with our dog becomes one in which they see us as their loving leader, which means they're looking up to us for guidance and direction. So when it comes to the communication pathway, it now starts to open. And the better our leadership skills, the better relationship we have, the wider our communication pathway becomes, which now means it becomes effortless to be able to communicate back and forward with our dog, to be able to communicate to them what it is that we do want and what it is that we don't want. So you can take one person that is saying exactly the same thing to a dog as the next, but why does that person have huge amounts of success and this person have none? It's because this person has a communication pathway with their dog which is wide open, because their relationship with that dog is built on the concept of them being that dog's loving leader. So that communication pathway works, it's functional, and the communication flows easily. Our second person that is not a good canine leader, which has a bad relationship where the dog isn't looking up to them to guidance and direction, has a narrow behavior pathway, which means even though they're doing the same communication, it's not able to get through to the dog, and they're then not able to have the same amount of success. So first of all, we have to focus on ourselves becoming higher level canine leaders. That opens up that communication pathway, then communicating with our dogs is easy. The reality is dog training isn't that difficult. Reward the things that we do want from our dogs, challenge and ignore the things that we don't want from them. They'll stop doing the things that we don't want, and they'll start doing the things that they're getting rewarded for. But without that foundational principle of loving leadership, with a relationship where they're looking up to you for guidance and direction, your communication will never be able to happen. That is the essence of being able to have a perfect canine companion. This channel is dedicated to teaching you how to become a high-level loving leader, then and only then how to be able to effortlessly communicate to your dog. So if you are new here, subscribe, and we can't wait to see you on the next video to start that journey.